Good morning. Welcome to the virtual worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Monterey Peninsula. I'm John Zarnecki, and I want to wish you a happy holidays and Merry Christmas. I am currently serving as a member of our church's Board of Trustees, representing you. We're a congregation of people of different ages, races, classes, religious and sexual orientations, gender identities, and political views. Our purpose here is to change our lives, even as we work to change the world around us through love, through learning, and service to others. If you're a visitor with us today, please fill out our virtual visitor card. You can find the link in the Zoom chat box here or on the church's website. You can also view past services on the church website. Our worship theme for this month is Opening to Joy. Today's service is entitled Enjoying Memories Together and is led by Music Director Camille Hatton, Religious Exploration Director Aaron Forstein, with Worship Associates Lee Hultquist and Sue Ellen Stringer. Have you checked out the weekly e-news lately? The weekly e-news contains information about many timely activities here at UUCMP. It's available on the church website and email. The latest e-news, dated Wednesday, December 22nd, lists many upcoming meetings and events, social justice calls to action, and all the religious exploration activities this week. If you're not receiving the e-news in your email, you can subscribe on our website or by contacting the office staff. Our shared offering recipient for December is the Food Bank of Monterey County. Checks made out to UUCMP with Food Bank of Monterey County in the memo line will support this important group. The food bank works to end hunger and transform the health of our community through good nutrition. It is the largest, most comprehensive provider of emergency supplemental food in our community, now serving 60,000 families every month at drive-up sites. 100% of your gift stays local to help our most at-risk communities. Now, please enjoy our musical prelude.
Come, join the music of this worshipful space. Come bring your voice, your melody, your rhythm. It is your perfect offering. Yes, perfect. No matter what you may have been told, no matter what you may tell yourself, you have something to offer to the dynamic song we create together, to the love song that we sing to heal a broken world. Your voice, your melody, your rhythm are needed to make the song complete. Come, join the music as we worship together.
And now please join as we sing Hava Nashira. We'll sing it once in unison and twice in a round.
Hava Nashira, Shira, Alleluia. 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 Hava Nashira, Shira, Alleluia.
With Unitarian Universalists around the world, we light our chalice, a symbol of our faith and our covenanted aspirations of love, hope, and justice. I will begin with the words of the leader. Please join in the response. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
Our story for all ages today is titled The Animal School by Reverend Dr. Deborah Greenstein of the UUA and loosely adapted from a story by George Revis. And this is how the story goes. Many years ago, the animals in the great forest decided that they wanted to start a school for all their children. Until that time, it had been the responsibility of parents to teach their children the skills they needed to know, but the animals in the great forest wanted their children to learn from professional teachers, so they organized a school and hired staff. The teachers met and decided to provide a standardized educational curriculum to their animal students. So they adopted an activity curriculum consisting of swimming, running, flying, and climbing. All the animals took all the subjects because it was very important to them that no animal be left behind. To ensure that students were progressing satisfactorily, standardized achievement tests were administered to all students. Here's what happened. The ducks were excellent in swimming. In fact, the ducks were better than their teacher, but some of the ducks made only passing grades in flying, and all of them were very poor in running. Since they were so slow in running, they had to stay after school for remedial running practice, and they had to drop swimming in order to practice running during their swimming class time. This was kept up until all the ducks' webbed feet were very sore, and the ducks were so tired that soon they were only average in swimming. But average was acceptable in school, so nobody worried about that, except the ducks. In running, the rabbits started at the top of the class, but they did very poorly in swimming. Also, the rabbits insisted on hopping around, and the teachers were concerned about their hyperactivity. So they made the rabbits walk everywhere instead of allowing them to run or hop. And the rabbits had to come in early every day for special swimming class. Many of the younger rabbits developed severe fur problems because they were having to spend so much time in the swimming pool. The squirrels were excellent in climbing and running. In fact, the squirrels were the best students at climbing the standardized tree. But they wanted to fly by first climbing the tree, then spreading their paws and gliding to the ground. That's the way squirrels fly. But in flying class, their teacher made them start on the ground instead of at the treetop, and the squirrels were not mastering the course material. So every day, the squirrels had therapy. A flying therapist took the squirrels into the gym and made them do front paw exercises to strengthen their muscles so they could learn to fly the right way. The squirrels' paws hurt so much from this overexertion that some of them only got a C in climbing. Some of the squirrels failed altogether. The eagles were definitely problem children. In climbing class, the eagles beat all the others to the top of the tree, but they insisted on using their own way to get there and were quite stubborn about it. The eagles said that clearly it was the goal that mattered and that it was quite right for eagles to get to the treetop by flying. The school psychologist diagnosed them as having oppositional defiant disorder. That's a real diagnosis that some children are given in school. A strict behavior modification plan was developed for the eagles. We can end this story in two ways. Sad to say, in some schools, we still make squirrel children try to learn to fly by flapping their paws, and punish eagles for being defiant about their right to be themselves. But happy to say, in some schools, we enjoy all children for themselves. Each squirrel is a perfectly wonderful squirrel. Each rabbit, a lovely rabbit, whether or not they choose to hop or skip or roll or walk. Each eagle, is allowed to be an eagle. And we encourage each duck to swim and swim and swim and swim and not worry about learning to run. And the moral of the story is, when we try to make everybody the same, nobody is happy. People can get hurt, and their very best gifts can go to waste.
Every night at 8 p.m., my entire neighborhood howls together. This means every Thursday at 8, we pause from choir rehearsal to join the fun. Actually, howling takes place throughout the entire Santa Cruz Mountains. We do this for connection to one another. Some do it to honor first responders. Others do it as a reminder that we're not alone. In my case, I love how once a day, every day, I'm given the opportunity to connect my sound with people near and far in unity. Before expressing what music means to me, I want to share with you how some choir members experience this mystery. I'm fascinated by how this abstract noise making has the ability to feed our spirits. I also love the fact that by playing Bach, now I'm suddenly connected to the year 1722, when the work was first given life at the hands of J.S. Bach. I'm also joined to every person who has ever performed it or listened to it. Synchronously, I'm connected to anyone who will ever encounter it in any manner. Yet, in the moment I play this, I'm also the owner, the creator of the sound, the vessel by which others may hear it, potentially for the first time. Concurrently, any listener is also connected to every other memory that they have for this piece, even on my poor out-of-tune instrument here. Maybe they're reminded of Gounod's Ave Maria over this prelude, or maybe it was an auntie who practiced it for the simple joy in her living room. These experiences, these stories, all exist in the space of this sound. Beyond the unseen layers of connectivity, I'm also fascinated by the complexity of the simultaneous sounds possible in music. If two people talk over each other, even about the same topic, it becomes incomprehensible at some point. However, we can layer related musical ideas on top of each other repeatedly. We can even layer the same musical idea and then offset it, like the round, come, come, whoever you are. Or bring in multiple musical ideas overlapping, like the circle of life. Yet, it is not lost noise. They create some new color, new meaning, new richness with every added layer. Finally, there's just the act of coordinating the sound together in real time. This is what I miss most about this time in shelter in place. There's absolutely nothing like being in a room with other people all crafting the same piece of art in real time together. When we all simply lock in, it's absolutely transcendent. Two factors come into play when we make music together. One, in order for the music to really work, we rely on each other. And two, every time anyone comes into an ensemble, it inherently changes the group. The ensemble and the participant are one, both influencing and being influenced by one another. The interpretations, energy, momentum of the music are in the control of each person. Making music all at once, it grounds me and it hypes me up. I try to harness that internal memory anytime I'm virtually with you. And I think it's imperative to the authenticity of that music. Truth be told, I always record my bits of the hymns after the choir mix has been completed. This is the closest I can get to feeling that sense of creating something with everyone else in the room. I imagine some of you might feel that too when you sing along on a Sunday morning in your home. I don't really understand the mysteries of the universe or the divine or of a god or whatever you want to call it, or the interconnectedness of music, life, time, space, experience. But when I'm in the thick of music, I'm happy, I'm whole, I'm sustained, held, given freedom, life, depth, meaning, and purpose. I cannot think of it as nothing. It is definitely something beyond my capacity of understanding. It is in this that I have faith. Over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God somewhere.
Over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God somewhere.
Have a little singing, y'all.
Over my head, I hear singing in the air. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. There must be a God somewhere.
I feel that.
Over my head, I feel lightness in the air. Over my head, I feel lightness in the air. Over my head, I feel lightness in the air. There must be a God. There must be a
This is the time we take each week to pause for a moment, take a breath, and reflect on what has been happening in our lives and the lives of those we love and care about, whether nearby or far away. Within this congregation are many joys and concerns which are unspoken, but which we acknowledge with love and care. There are also many concerns in our community and the wider world that are on our minds and in our hearts. We will now drop a few pebbles representing your joys and sorrows into our shared waters of love and support. If you have a milestone or a joy or sorrow you would like to share with those assembled on Zoom today, please write it in the chat now. You can also contact the Caring Network privately.
Our meditation this morning is inspired by Joel Tushkin. You know, the ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras taught that the universe was composed entirely of numbers, and numbers corresponded to music. He believed that music purified and nourished our souls and renewed our spirit in the same way that exercise and nutrition renew the body. So I invite you to contemplate what music would renew and nourish your soul at this moment. Do you need a peppy tune, one that makes you smile and dance? Or maybe you need a love ballad to help you celebrate a love in your life. Or do you need a sad song to speak to you about a loss in your life? Maybe a dirge to help you grieve and mourn a tragedy and a loss. Or do you need a happy song to help you celebrate some wonderful aspect of your life? Do you need a cacophony of noise to rattle you into some new awareness? Perhaps you need a calm lullaby to bring you peace and serenity. Well, as we enter into silence, I invite you to consider a song that is speaking to you. Imagine it's resonating within you, but also it resonates outward in all directions, bringing that feeling to those you love, then on to people they love, outward until it fills the universe, connecting with everyone else, communicating where you are today. May our collective silence bring harmony to ourselves and everyone in our orbit.
Now is the time for our morning offering. We encourage you to think about your financial support for this church and the resources the church needs to do its good work. We ask you, if you are able, to write a check and drop it in the mail, or use the donate button on the church's website. We also invite your donations for our shared offering recipient for December, Food Bank for Monterey County. And now, please enjoy our offertory music.
I'll be your candle on the water. My love for you will always burn. I know you're lost and drifting, but the clouds are lifting. Don't give up, you have somewhere to turn. I'll be your candle on the water, till every wave is warm and bright. My soul is there beside you. Let this candle guide you. Soon you'll see a golden stream of light. A cold and friendless tide has found you. Don't let this stormy darkness pull you down. I'll paint a ray of hope around you, circling in the air, lighted by a prayer. I'll be your candle on the water. This flame inside of me will grow. Keep holding on, you'll make it. Here's my hand, so take it. Look for me, reaching out to show, as sure as rivers flow. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you
The Christmas story is rooted in old tales of the winter solstice. In ancient times all over the world, when the solstice came, our distant ancestors sometimes told stories of a miraculous child born to return us to the light. There are stories of a child born to a royal family, or to a mother goddess and a father god, or a father god and a human woman from an important and rich family. The child would grow up to lead humankind into a time of truth and justice, peace and love. The ancient Israelites, the people who became today's Jewish people, had great hopes of this story. They were a people whose tiny country was constantly occupied by great empires. Several times their warriors succeeded in kicking out the occupying armies. Hanukkah, which the Jewish people will continue to celebrate at sunset tonight, is a festival that celebrates one of these victories. Yet, Each time the Israelites overthrew their oppressors, another empire would invade them a few decades later. They longed for the birth of a hero, a Messiah, who would liberate them and save them from all their suffering forever. So this is the background for the story of the birth of Yeshua, whom we know as Jesus. He was an Israelite baby born to an Israelite mother during the time when Israel was under control of the Roman Empire. The earliest Christians were Jewish, and they took the ancient story of a miraculous birth and gave it a new twist. Their special child was indeed said to be fathered by their God, but was raised by a lowly carpenter. The child was not the son of a wealthy queen, but was instead the son of a woman whose only wealth was her goodness and strength.
This morning, we are going to recreate the old story of the miraculous birth of Jesus. We'll draw on two early Christian accounts of Jesus' birth from the books of Matthew and Luke. We will draw on our roots in Judaism by remembering that this is the story of a Jewish baby during the time when the Jewish people were oppressed by the Roman Empire. And we will draw on our universalist heritage and understand this story as a universal story of liberation and transformational love. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment, transport yourself to another time and another place. Imagine that a story is going to unfold before your very eyes, a brand new story that you've never heard before. Imagine that after years and years of hearing stories about women and men bowing down to powerful kings and emperors and dictators and tyrants, you finally hear a story in which three powerful, wise people kneel down alongside some shepherds before one tiny, newborn child.
Imagine that after years of hearing story after story after story telling of terrible wars, you're at last hearing the friendly story of a baby. The story of a humble carpenter and his wife. The story of a baby that is born to them in a stable, shepherds in a starlit field who go to see the newborn child, the peaceful animals who gather round in a stable where the baby lies in the cow's feeding trough. Imagine that at last you're going to hear a story in which everyone is longing for peace on earth and goodwill to all persons everywhere. Imagine that after years of hearing stories about the results of hatred and oppression and persecutions, you are finally hearing a story of the transforming power of love. Now slowly open your eyes. Listen and watch carefully. Let the story begin. In those days, long, long ago, a decree went out from the Emperor Caesar Augustus, saying,
All the world should be registered so that they can pay taxes to me.
All the people were required to go to the town where they had been born to register. For some people, that meant a long journey. Joseph, a carpenter, had to go all the way from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the city of David. He went with Mary, the woman he was planning to marry, because she was expecting a child. They started on their long journey, traveling by day and sometimes by night, their road lit only by stars. Joseph knew it was not going to be easy, what with Mary almost ready to have her baby. At least they had a donkey that Mary could ride on, and at least the twinkling stars made the road friendly to ride on.
When Joseph and Mary got to Bethlehem, they discovered that there was no room at the inn. But the inn was the only place in town with comfortable beds. The only place Mary and Joseph could find a place to take shelter was in a stable cut into the side of a hill. So they settled in to sleep there, among the animals.
The gentle animals welcomed Joseph and Mary into their stable, and that night, the time came for Mary to give birth. It was a stable, so when the baby was born, there was no cradle for Mary to lay her baby in. One of the cows was kind enough to lend her feeding trough for a cradle, and Joseph and Mary laid their new baby there amongst the hay, in a feeding trough.
Douce nuit, sonne nuit, dans les cieux, l'astre nuit, le mystère annoncé s'accomplit. C'est enfant sur la paille endormi. C'est l'amour infini. C'est l'amour infini.
In that region there were shepherds who lived for months at a time out in the fields, watching over their flocks of sheep by night. They had to watch over their sheep because there were wolves in the hills that would gladly eat a sheep if they could get one. On this night, as the shepherds stood watch in their fields, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and this angel was truly magnificent, and the glory of the God of the Israelites shone around the shepherds.
Do not be afraid, for I have appeared to bring you good news of great joy for all the people of Israel. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah. This will be a sign to you. You'll find a child wrapped in strips of cloth and lying in a manger. Glory to God on the highest, and on earth let there be peace and goodwill among all people everywhere.
And then there was a whole host of angels, singing and praising God, and the shepherds were amazed.
Noche de paz, noche de amor, todo nueve eterno. Entre sus astros y fastos sus luz, ve anunciando al niño Jesús. Brilla la estrella de paz, brilla la estrella de paz.
Upon hearing the message from their God, and hearing the songs of the angel choir, the shepherds said to one another,
This is amazing.
Let's go to Bethlehem.
Yes, let's see the baby that the angel told us about. Let's go right away.
So the shepherds went to Bethlehem with their sheep, and there they found Mary and Joseph and the new baby, just as the angel had told them. Afterwards, the shepherds would tell everyone what the angel had said to them about Mary and Joseph's new baby, and everyone who heard their story was amazed. The shepherds and sheep gathered around the feeding trough, admiring the baby. They praised their God for the wonder of new birth, and they prayed and hoped that what the angel said would come true, that there would be peace on earth and goodwill for all people, even for lowly shepherds.
After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, 3 wise persons, who were kings and queens from the far east, came to Jerusalem. As these 3 wise persons journeyed their long, slow journey to Bethlehem, it took them 12 days to get there, which is why we talk about the 12 days of Christmas. They noticed that their way was lit by a large and bright star. The wise persons followed the star until it stopped over the stable where the newborn child was lying in the cow's feeding trough. When the wise persons entered the stable and saw the new baby, they were overwhelmed with joy at this new life. They knelt down to worship him, and they opened their bags and brought out gifts.
I bring you gold.
I bring you frankincense. I bring you myrrh.
Now we have come to the end of the story. Let us pause for a moment. Look at this scene. It is a special night, with stars and angels and shepherds and wise persons and animals. They are all admiring a special baby that has just been born. Why would all these people stand around for such a long time to admire a tiny new baby? There's only one reason I could think of, because the birth of a child always brings hope for the future. When a people who lived under oppressive Roman rule, all the while longing for liberation, the birth of a child must have been fraught with extra meaning. Will this be the child who leads us to freedom? Will this be the child who breaks our bonds of slavery and establishes a reign of peace and righteousness?
So it is in our world today. In a world that sometimes seems hopeless, we still look with hope to the future. Every time a new baby is born, we hope that this child will be one of the ones who leads us to a world of peace and love. And every time we tell this Christmas story, it reminds us that we must go out and work for liberation and justice. We, you and I, are the ones who are responsible for making sure the world is a better place for all the babies that are born. Let us all, together now, sing Silent Night.
All
Please join now in the unison words as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but take its light into our lives, to be the presence of love in the midst of fear, the voice of hope in the face of despair, and the hands of justice, restoring a world worthy of our children.
Sanctus, Sanctus, Sanctus Dominus. Sanctus, Sanctus, Deus Sabaoth. Deus Sabaoth.
Sanctus, Sanctus.